First of all, again, thank you everyone for being on this webinar. As you know, uh, we launched a few weeks now ago a series of 6 webinars where we're showing how your company can automate its entire printing process from the order entry to the actually to the delivery. So my name is Serge Close. You start to know me, and I'm here with my colleague Randy Bear. We are showing you now step by step since a few weeks, as I said, how Durst software can manage your company's processes from pixel to output. We're now in the I think it's the second to last session of our journey to FESPA. The show is getting closer, and we already covered quite a number of topics. We ordered custom products via SmartShop. We managed our orders via Lift ERP. We prepared the files with workflow in order to print them properly. We also saw last week how to use the information contained in the file to automate the different printing steps, but also the cutting steps. Now it's time for us to look at data and metrics. I would say this is a very exciting and trendy topic as data is becoming more and more monetized. Many companies are paying sometimes quite even a lot of amount of money to have access to such data. Today, we will show you how your company can actually benefit from its own data, but also what data you can access and how to use it to improve your profitability. So to me, measuring the efficiency of your company is definitely an essential step. The most dynamic companies today, and that's an evidence, have understood this. And whatever the size of the companies or of the structure is, data remains an essential factor to take into account for an efficient management of the company. Data is definitely key, and we see this with OpenAI and all the artificial intelligence. And I think those big data, of course, are going much beyond, but still, data is essential for a company to really take the right decisions. And with that, I will now hand over to Randy again to show you all this magic. Thank you.
Well, I will do my best to put on my conjuring hat and make this very magical for everyone. Appreciate everyone's time as always. Again, I worked in a printing facility. I know how valuable your time can be. So even spending a half hour with us, I know is taking a lot out of your day. So I greatly appreciate it. As Serge mentioned in previous sessions, we have gone over, we've shown Smart Shop, we've shown Lift, we've shown workflow. We'll be getting a little more involved today with yet another software package. But first, I want to give you a little bit of a little bit of a refresher. Again, if we are we want customers to place their own orders. We have the ability to do so with our e-commerce platform, Smart Shop. Smart Shop is very powerful. It allows us to go in and give customers the ability to create even something as complex as a counter display. A lot of times we would look at this and say, wow, this is something that a customer cannot design. However, with Smart Shop, they would have the ability to do so. So if we looked at, say, we are going to start with a pattern, uh, it's very nice. We can go in and of course, these are patterns from a partner of ours. And I'm just going to look for something that has some blacks in the background. So we're going to do a beauty piece. You can see it has a watermark on it. Of course, whenever it's printed, that watermark is not there. With this, we can scale the pattern up and down as much as we would like. Also, if we look at this, you can see there are certain colors that we can go in and edit as well. Customer can go in, maybe they say, you know, I really like this, but I want that background to even be a little darker, because whenever we add the model for this, and again, I'm just going to upload one of my own files here as well. Upload her. We have a model. We're going to be selling some beauty cream. We'll remove the background on her. We'll place her. I can scale her down, put her into position on this. Very easily, you can see I am building this uh, very quickly. We'll just say this is beauty cream. We'll change that font so that it's something a little more beautiful, I suppose. Change the font size. We'll change the color so we can see it on that black background. I will then select this, put it into position. And you can see up here at the top right, we are getting a 3D preview that is being generated for us. We can see exactly what this final piece is going to look like. This is something very complex. Of course, we can do banners, we can do yard signs, we can do whatever. However, when we add this to the cart, it's going to show not only this is what this looks like, but it also shows, hey, this is how this lays out. It's something that customers would be able to create art for you in, you see how quickly we were able to do that. That is Smart Shop. We also have shown Lift ERP, and Lift ERP can manage your entire printing business. It handles everything that you could possibly need, from customer management, order management, and you know exactly where all your orders are at any given time in a printing facility. You can set up catalogs, you can set up pricing, you can set up proofing, costing, scheduling, inventory, basically anything you can think of that you would need to run your printing business. Lyft has you covered. And we'll get a little bit more into Lyft today here in just one moment. But we also want to cover workflow, which we had done in the past as well. On a previous session, we had shown a customer had sent a file in. It was not a very good file. It had all kinds of problems. The customer had sent it in. It didn't have any bleed. It didn't have any cut marks. They had set the blacks to crazy things that were registration blacks. They were production blacks. They were all kinds of different things. Those blacks weren't going to match. The fonts weren't embedded. They also included a what we call a slug in the US down here, some additional data, which is great, but we don't need that for printing. What we need for printing is we need a print ready file. So we were able to go through, and with a click, we were able to change that so that it generated on the fly. Here is your cut path. Here is your bleed, and all our fonts and all of our blacks were exactly where they need to be for optimal printing output. On our last session, which was just a couple of days ago, we discussed how data is more than just print files. We had made a beer bottle carrier, which was really cool. We did that in Smart Shop, and that was really nice. But it's nice to be able to get the print file, but we also need the cut file. We also need not just the print file, not just the cut file, but we need that data. We need to know, okay, what media is this being printed on? It's being printed on cardboard. We also sent a box through that was being printed on Gardamat. And we were able to send the information from the original order, send that all the way through the process, have it hit Durst workflow, and have workflow instruct our machines what needs to happen with that. Again, you're getting as minimal manual interaction as possible, just to save clicks, to save time. So here we had this cardboard job was going to be going on a 2-track system. Right here it is. The Gardamat was going to be on a 6-track system, so we see that as well. Additionally, you would have those materials being stacked. Here's the feed. Here's the feed of this material. Here's the feed of this material. Here's the output of this material. Here's the output of that material. And again, you could do that manually, or you could do it in a different way, and you'll get to learn more about that in the near future. So we have, talked about how data isn't just a print file; it's all the information we need from pixel to output, from printing to packing to logistics to shipping. We have you covered completely. But what we really want to talk about today is we've talked about Smart Shop, we've talked about Lyft, we've talked about workflow. Let's talk a little bit about our other piece of software, which is Durst Analytics. Durst Analytics ships with every Durst printer and is very, very powerful. It's allows us to see how productive a piece of equipment can be, see when it's not being productive, and see why it's not being productive. So here we have logged in. We're looking at a Durst P5, we're taking a dive into what things look like in a given month. And here we see our utilization. We have a 54.78% utilization. If I dive down here, I can do even a little bit more and see what days were we most productive. Where are we getting something, where are we getting the most bang for the buck? As we go through the month of February, we see February 13th, 14th. Boy, February 13th and 14th weren't very good days. I don't know if we were out for Valentine's Day or what our pressman was doing there, or that what we weren't getting good production there. So we would be able to look at that and see, learn from it, see how do we make our business more productive? How do we make our business more proficient? If we look at this, we also see what is our technical availability? How often was this machine down? And you see on this machine, it was very reliable, 99.66%. We had a 0.34% breakdown. So there was a little bit of time where we were down over the course of the month, but that is pretty good. But we look at this and we see, wow, we have 41.79% idle time. There was quite a bit more production could have gotten from this machine. As we drill down, we may see, well, we don't have it staffed, 24 hours a day. Doesn't make sense. Do we have the business that we could drive this and, get this closer to 100% than really using it about 50% of the time? As we go through analytics, of course, we can get all kinds of information. We could get drill downs on our printed jobs. And again, we can see all the information here day by day. If we wanted to do by sheets, we have the ability to see that as well. That information is there. We could split it into shifts and see where we're getting our most bang for our buck. We can also do a drill down, get maintenance, get consumption not only of inks, but also of your materials as well. Take a look at productivity. And this is pretty interesting because we can see on a given day at what times were we most productive? Where did we have breakdowns? So let's take a look at February 1st. And you can see here we have quite a bit of, we have some breakdowns here, quite a bit of setups that we're doing, but the bulk of the day was pretty productive. We're seeing through here, we're getting a lot of printing production done. We do have these breakdowns though. If we were to look at a different day, say February 9th, we can see we had some setups, but that was even more productive this day. We had no breakdowns. We were getting a lot out the door. We can really show everything we want to see and learn from that. How do we make our business better? How do we analyze this data and really drill down and see what we can learn from this? Of course, you can download this data as well, and I'll show you a piece of that here in just a moment. We have our KPIs that we can show as well. Total utilization, kind of just a more streamlined version of this. Additionally, as I had mentioned, you could download this information, get a nice report out of this. Something that looks like this. And we could see exactly what is going on with this piece of equipment, with any piece of equipment that we have. We can see, what are we getting square meter wise? What are we getting square foot wise? What's our printing look like? Anything we would want to know, ink per color, uh, pretty much everything you could possibly want to know, you would be able to get from analytics. Additionally, you would be able to have real-time communication With analytics, that data can be passed through. It can be passed through with an API. It can be passed through lots of different ways to different pieces of software. It can be DIRS software. It cannot be DIRS software. Of course, we want it to be DIRS software, but hey, we want to be as open as we possibly can. So analytics is very powerful, but it's not just analytics where we can get data. We can get data throughout any of the DIRS software platforms. We'll switch back over to workflow. Take a look at a job we had done. I'm pretty sure this was one we had done in either the last session or the second to last session. Here we have our boxes, our Christmas boxes that we were doing. You can see that we have this now imposed. It is all set up. It is all ready to go to production. If we click on impose, we're going to get more data here as well. We're seeing we're getting a 77.77% utilization. We can find out, our ink consumption. We can find out print statistics. Again, any of this information is right there for you to analyze and see what is making sense from a production standpoint, what is not making sense from a production standpoint, and we utilize that to make our businesses better. We'll switch back over to Lyft, and Lyft as well has just an incredible amount of metrics for your perusal. It collects data as you move a job through production. So if we take a look at this job, you can see it gives us all the information we need to produce. Again, but it's not just, okay, here's a print file. It gives us everything. It tells us the quantity, specs, what our square footage is, what our unit price is. As the job moves through your production facility, costs will be applied. So you can apply labor costs, you can apply material costs, you can apply print, machine costs. You have the ability to do all of that. So here you can see we have gotten a little bit of costing. We've had just a couple steps. This was nothing too major that has come through. But we've hit the approve step. We'll get to the rip step. At the print step, we'll start getting materials that will not only be costing that will be added to the job, that material will also be decremented from your inventory. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But you can see again here, we have things that are planned, scheduled, cut time, what amount of time it should be done in. So it's incredibly powerful uh, just because it's collecting that data as it goes through the system. Further, Lyft has a very powerful reporting system. Um, Pretty much anything you would want to know. We have a work in progress analysis. You can get sales analysis to where you can see, okay, exactly where are we, who's doing well on sales, who's not doing it well on sales. We can change the timeline however you would like to have. You can do invoice analysis, tax analysis, shipping analysis, packing analysis, exception reporting, inventory analysis, inventory snapshots, transactions, costing analysis, GL analysis, performance analysis, and uh, scheduling analysis. I mean, I kind of almost need another drink just going through all that. If you have a type of report that you don't see in Lyft, we do offer Lyft reporting services, and these can, again, we talk about data going back and forth between different systems, going from analytics to Lyft or analytics to another system. We have the ability to do that in Lyft as well, utilizing Lyft reporting services, so you can get exactly the data that you need being sent exactly where you need to send it. One of the other nice things is we're looking at these different analysis. You have the ability to go in and let's say you're more of an Excel guy, you got these reports in Lyft, but we really want to drill down a little differently. On any of these reports, we can just say download report, and we can spec out how we want that information to be downloaded. Do we want it as a CSV? Do we want it as an HTML? Do we want it as an Excel document? Just pop it right open. Maybe we want it as a PDF that we're just going to email to someone. Additionally, you can have notifications sent throughout the system. So if you have a job that's going through and it's going to hit a negative margin, wouldn't it be nice to know that ahead of time before you at the end of the month and you're like, wow, what was happening with this job? No one's going to remember. With Lyft, you can set up notifications to be notified anytime you're seeing something that is running into a negative margin job. So here we would see this job is gone through. It is a negative margin job. We can be notified automatically via email, via Slack, to where you would have information on the fly and you would not need to be digging after the fact. You could find out as the job is going through the shop. Additionally, of course, Lyft covers, all kinds. You'll get all kinds of other metrics throughout the system because you have, your order management dashboard, so you can see, where are things in order management. You can see where things are in production management. You can get all of that information all throughout the system with flags. Very visual. Lyft a very visual system. Additionally, it can handle your inventory. So as I had mentioned before, whenever we have jobs that are going through the production facility, not only is data being calculated, but material usage is also being uh, costed as well. It's also being, that data is also being handed through to the point that you can say, I have this 13-ounce vinyl material. I have so much that is being consumed, but not only being consumed, if let's say you have a job that you have set up, it's been a reserved, this job's going to use a lot of material. The system will be able to go in and say, okay, you are going to run out of material. You've hit your reorder point. Send a notification to your materials manager, or if you want, you can even have the system generate a PO, automatically generate a PO, send it to your material supplier, and say, we've hit the reorder point. Send it to the material supplier. Let's get this material in so we can continue production. Of course, it has financial management as well. Uh, I mean, it's pretty much any data that you would want. It's very nice because you're getting this data from every one of the Durst software platforms. You can get it from SmartShop, you can get it from Lyft, you can get it from Workflow, and of course, as I had mentioned, you can get it from analytics. You can really dive down, find out where is your company making money, where are we having gaps where we could be more productive, idle time, scheduling time. You're going to be able to better understand your company, better maintain your profitability with Durst software. And with that, I will hand it back to Serge.
Thank you, Randy. Yeah, thank you very much for your insights. It was very interesting, and we see the importance of data and metrics. Personally, I cannot strengthen, the how important is it for business owners to be informed about the situation of the company. Um, before closing this session, I just wanted to thank you again for your time and your attention, and also wanted to mention what you see on the screen. I wanted to remind you that you can register on our website, durstgroup.com, to book a demo with our expert. I think the marketing team is going to send you the link in the next few days, so you can easily register online. Feel free to do that. There are already a lot of people who registered. Of course, there's still some room left. It's a perfect opportunity for everyone to talk to our experts, to exchange ideas, and eventually talk about projects. Next week, on the 18th, that's going to be our last session, actually. We will see together how to interact with your customers by using the Durst software solutions. We're going to talk about different things: file submission, approval portal, how to share information with customers, how to see real-time statuses, etc. So I really hope to see you there next week. And thanks again, everyone, for attending our sessions. So take care and bye bye. Thank you.